Finally, I did it. Sorry I haven't been uploading much recently, but I'm sure you guys are used to that by now. It's because I've been at my desk for weeks, experimenting, calculating, scribbling notes on a piece of paper, but I've done it. I found a new number, and it is the square root of -1. It's new, it's never before seen, and I'm calling it the phantom number.
That number already exists.
So the FBI really did rig my house.
I'm not the FBI. I've always been here listening to you.
What the hell, you stalker?
It's not my fault you didn't read the terms and conditions. Anyways, the square root of 1 already is a number. It's called an imaginary number.
But the phantom number is such a cool name for it.
Imaginary numbers were first used uncontroversially around the year 1777, but they've been used since far back as the year 50. In other words, you are 1,900 years behind mathematics.
Hey everyone. I'm disappointed. I don't even know why I bought that thing, but it tells me the weather, so I guess this is the price I pay. Anyways, welcome to Volume 3 of Wiki Insanity, the show where I tell you useless facts every 2 weeks. If you're new, Volume 1 is linked up there and I'll tell you everything you need to know. And if you already know what's up, we're on the mathematics and numbers section. But before we get started, there's another number I care a lot about. And it's my subscriber count, of course. Please make sure to like the video if you enjoy it so others can find it too. With that being said, let's start summarizing. 2 + 2 = 5 is literally 1984. Literally. It's used in the novel as a way to show how authoritarianism can warp the minds of citizens so much that they believe blatantly incorrect statements. The idea is older than George Orwell's book, though. Belphegor's Prime is the easiest way to kill a superstitious person. It's 666 with 13 zeros on each side with 1s at the edges. The symbol that represents it is pi upside down, and it's named after a demon. Calculator spelling is something most of you must be familiar with. If you aren't, leave. It's just spelling words by punching numbers into a calculator and flipping it. Just the numbers 0 through 9 are traditionally used for this, which is actually called the Begelos set because, well, 836417052. It uses nearly every number. You can spell many things with the Begelos set, like hello, beige, shell, and Google, with the longer ones being sleigh bells and heebie-jeebies. The Cox-Zucker machine is an algorithm by David Cox and Steven Zucker. Nobody cares what it does, just look at its name. It was completely planned by them too. Extravagant numbers are numbers which have less digits than they do prime factors. For example, the number 6 is 1 digit, but it can be split into 2 times 3, making it extravagant. I imagine they got their name by some drunk mathematician just saying, God, these numbers are so fucking full of themselves. Gabriel's horn is a solid that has a finite volume, but infinite surface area. So basically, you could fill the inside of the shape with paint, but it would literally take you forever to paint it. Graham's number is why I'm convinced mathematicians have way too much time on their hands. It's a number so big, it's almost beyond explanation. But I'm gonna try anyway. So basically, you know how multiplying something is just adding it a lot? And you know how exponents are just multiplying it a lot? Imagine that with exponents. What you see here is called up arrow notation, and numbers get really big really quick with it. Just imagine doing that, and then layering it again, 64 times. You might be asking, why would anyone do this? I'm with you. At this point, what purpose does this serve? Do you want a plastic trophy? Are you compensating? I don't get it. The hairy ball theorem mathematically proves that you can't evenly comb a hairy ball without leaving little tufts of it. I don't know why they chose the name, but hey, at least it's accurate. A happy number is a joyous number, a number where if you square its digits, it'll eventually end up back at 1. If a number can't do this, it is unironically called a sad number. Nobody knows for certain who named them. Illegal numbers are numbers that are actually illegal. These are usually numbers that represent secret government information or keys to illegal content. In 2007, a hexadecimal number was revealed that helped people steal data from DVDs and bypass copyright laws. America ruled that it was unlawful for anyone to possess or distribute the full number because it would technically be copyright infringement. People got mad and even made a flag about this. They call it the free speech flag, and it represents the first 16 bytes of the number. The interesting numbers paradox states that classifying numbers into interesting and uninteresting groupings will produce a paradox that will rip apart the space-time continuum. It won't, I just made that up. If there's a set of uninteresting numbers, there will inherently be a smallest uninteresting number, or a largest uninteresting number. This, however, makes them interesting. Logically, this means there can't be a boring number. Mathematical fallacies sound complicated, but I'm sure we've all been there in math class. It's basically when you reach the right answer with the wrong process. For example, simplifying 16 over 64. Cancel the 6's, and this simplifies to 1/4. I think anyone with an IQ above room temperature can see why this process is wrong. Number stations are kind of freaky in my opinion. They're basically radio stations that just read numbers. One is playing as I speak right now. People think these are secret codes, which they probably were during wartime. Hobbyists actually tune into these and nickname them, pretty much collecting them like Pokemon cards. Schizophrenic numbers are irrational numbers that have some properties similar to those of rational numbers. But I have a more important question. Who is naming these? Sexy primes are hot numbers. Nah, I'm playing. They're just prime numbers that have a difference of 6. It's a pun. 6 in Latin is literally just sex, which is really unfortunate for English speakers. Tetraphobia is the irrational fear and avoidance of the number 4. It's pretty common in East Asia because their words for the number 4 sound like their words for death as well. Some buildings don't even have a 4th floor because of bad luck, which ties into the Western equivalent. Triskaidekaphobia is the irrational fear and avoidance of the number 13. People don't really know where it came from. Some say tarot cards and others cite old sayings, but it works pretty similar to how 4 does in Asia. No 13th floor relates to death, you get it. Zenzik is... Okay, so you know how a number to the 2nd power is squared? And how a number to the 3rd power is cubed? Well, some mathematician like several centuries ago wrote that a number to the 8th power would be Zenzik. What a mouthful. It comes to the word zenze, which in medieval times meant squared. So technically a number squared is a number to the 8th. It's logical, but I still hate it, though it is really fun to say. Zenzik. Here, things divert a bit. We've been mostly talking about arithmetic and calculus and other math stuff. But here the article diverges to talk about the strange side of the numbers we live by. Times, dates, months, years. So I say we just jump into talking about the weird side of time so we don't waste any. The abolition of time zones is something I support to an extent, not gonna lie. Time zones are confusing and suck for business and coordination sometimes. It's been proposed in the past we all just switch to UTC, even if different areas will have different ideas of what 12 o'clock means. The big problem, in my opinion, is that it will probably just confuse the systems we have in place even more. I think we should just try and fix the absolute dumpster fire of time zones we have right now. Look at this mess. Non-standard dates are dates that don't fit the standard Gregorian calendar system, which is the one most of my audience is used to. They have a variety of origins. Some are used for computing and calculations. January 0th is another name for December 31st, and December 32nd is another name for January 1st. March 0th refers to the last day of February, and December 31.5 was used to solve a dispute between two systems. Some are used for information. February 31st was once used on tombstones when the person's death date wasn't known, and May 35th is used in China to avoid communist censorship for the Tiananmen Square protests, which actually took place on June 4th, 1989. Some are used for more recreational reasons, like June 31st and February 30th appearing in fiction. February 30th is also an expression for something that's never going to happen. Like me getting a girl. Manhattan Henge is the occurrence where the sun lines up with the grid patterns of the streets of New York. This happens twice a year, and the name is based on how the Stonehenge does the same thing, but older. The Phantom Time Conspiracy is the theory that the early Middle Ages didn't happen. This would mean the 297 years from 614 to 911 AD were fabricated by the Romans, and that we're actually living in the year 1726 as of this video. Literally nobody believes this, it's not worth your time. I'm sure we all know Pi Day. I mean, it's been around since the 80s. You know, March 14th. Because it looks like 3.14 when written out. Well, there's actually other dates people celebrate relating to pi. July 22nd, when written with the day before the month, is the rough approximation of pi 22/7, and November 10th is the 314th day of a common year. Pocky and Pretz Day is the Japanese celebration and marketing of Pockies. It's celebrated on November 11th, or 11/11, because the ones look like sticks. Swatch Internet Time was when a watch company tried to change how time is recorded on the internet for some reason. Basically, they divided a day into 1,000 parts called beats, named after the product they were marketing. The system would count after midnight from 1 to 1,000, with one beat being around a minute and a half. The concept of changing time is not new. Putting the day into sections of 10 or a multiple of 10 is called decimal time, and it's kind of scary how many people tried to do this. June December is the secret month after December. It's pretty much DLC content starting at $9.99. Nah, but really, it's used in calculations and for adjusting dates. The Winterval was the British name for all of the holidays that happen near the end of the year. Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Thanksgiving, New Year's, sometimes Ramadan and Eid, sometimes Diwali, Advent, Boxing Day, and more. A lot of people criticized it in 1997 as being politically correct, but honestly I understand why it was made from a marketing perspective. The year 2000 problem, or Y2K problem, was the general public fear that technology wouldn't be able to handle timekeeping after 1999. To put it very simply, computers would read the year 2000 as being the year 1900, which would create negative values for dates and screw up technology. This scared the public a lot, but when the year actually came, not much happened. People still debate whether this is because we fixed the problem or because there wasn't a problem to begin with. A couple months ago I even wrote a paper on how it affected American culture for history class. The weird thing, though, is there's a problem like this that might happen in the future. The year 2038 problem is a bug with Unix time. Basically, Unix time is a timekeeping system that counts the amount of seconds it's been since January 1st, 1970, and it's useful for computers. The problem is, the way this is counted means there will be an overflow on January 19th, 2038. It'll read the date as being December 12th, 1901. The systems most susceptible to this are older, non-updated ones, because the newer ones can just add more seconds because better storage. We don't really know what's gonna happen, but that's a problem for 15 years from now. And that's it for the number section. God, so much shorter than the geography section. Well, there's nothing for me to add, so make sure to like and subscribe. The next video will probably be a break from the Wiki Insanity series, so stick around for that. See you guys later. Peace.